Most people walk through life as if it's endless, as if tomorrow is something they've been promised. But the harshest and yet most beautiful truth is this: life is temporary. We live with deadlines, but we die without one. You don't get an alert, a countdown, a red flashing light that tells you this is your last week, your final hour, your last chance. And that's the test. That's the divine wisdom behind the design of life. Because if you knew exactly when the end was, would your kindness be genuine? Would your prayers be sincere? Would your apologies come from the heart, or simply from panic? The truth is, you're dying right now. Every breath you take is one breath closer to your final one. That may sound dark, but it's not meant to be. It's meant to shake you awake. You see, when you deeply understand that your time here is limited, you begin to live intentionally. You begin to act with a purpose. You speak words that carry weight. You stop wasting time chasing validation and start chasing meaning. You stop worrying about who likes your photo and start wondering whether your name will be spoken with love or forgotten in resentment once you're gone. Look around you. People who are full of laughter, energy and plans just yesterday. Some of them are buried today. They had plans too. They were about to start new things. They said, "I'll do it next week," and next week never came. This isn't a scare tactic, it's reality. It's the quiet truth that we all know but try so hard to forget. Because the moment you embrace it, you can't live the same way anymore. You can't waste time in petty arguments. You can't go to sleep with a heavy heart, knowing you wronged someone. You can't scroll for hours through meaningless content when your soul is starving for connection, for prayer, for a moment of real peace. Ask yourself, what are you really leaving behind? The house you built, the car you drove, the salary you chased. None of it follows you. None of it matters in the dirt. What does matter are the moments you comforted someone who was breaking, the times you gave when you had little, the tears you wiped, the prayers you whispered for others, the smile you offered without expecting anything in return. These are eternal. These are recorded. These echo long after your body turns to dust. You don't have to be famous to be remembered. You don't need millions to have value. A kind word at the right time can save a soul. A warm gesture can change the trajectory of someone's life. But that only happens when you live with the awareness that your time is short. People delay good deeds, delay forgiveness, delay kindness, thinking they'll have more time later. But later is a lie. Later is not guaranteed. And when you finally realize that, you begin to choose peace over pride, humility over ego, sincerity over superficiality. Every day that you wake up with breath in your lungs is a gift, a rare opportunity to do better, speak better, live better. But how many of us treat our mornings like miracles? How many wake up and say, "Thank you for another chance"? No, most wake up already buried in stress, chasing things that won't matter when the grave is dug. That needs to change. Your soul is more important than your schedule. Your purpose is more important than your productivity. And let's be honest, when it's your turn, when you're the one lying silently in white cloth, what will the people say? Will they say you brought light, or will they say nothing at all? Did your presence uplift or drain? Did you help or harm? These aren't just sentimental questions. These are measures, real measures of a life well lived. Because your impact is your eternity. Your character is your real wealth. People fear death because they never truly lived. They never connected to something greater. They never paused to ask why they were here in the first place. But when you live with meaning, when you live every day as if it could be your last, death becomes less frightening. It becomes a transition, not a terror. A homecoming, not a horror. You begin to focus more on your relationship with your Creator, with your loved ones, with yourself. You begin to fix what's broken, because you realize there's no promise of a second chance. You've got today. That's all. So speak what needs to be spoken. Apologize while the ears can still hear you. Hug your parents while their arms are still warm. Give your time to your children while they still crave your presence. And above all, realign your heart with your purpose. Because you were made for more than just bills, deadlines and distractions. You're not just living, you're leaving. You are leaving memories, impressions and echoes. And when your name is whispered after you're gone, let it be with a smile. Let people remember your gentleness, your truth, your kindness. That is how you beat death. That is how you live forever. Through the lives you touched and the hearts you helped heal. So don't just count your days. Make your days count. Strip away the distractions. Turn down the noise. Focus on what will outlast you. Live today as if it's your last. Not with fear but with full presence. With intention, with love. Because when life is temporary, every moment is priceless. And when you finally realize that everything changes, you change. And that right there is the beginning of a life worth remembering. Death is not the end. It feels like the end. It looks like the end. And to many it's the scariest thing imaginable. But the truth that few want to face, is that death is not a conclusion. It is a continuation, a transition, a doorway into a reality more lasting than this one. This life, as heavy as it feels, is just the surface, just a page in a much longer, much deeper story. And the final chapter doesn't happen here. It happens after. That's where the real journey begins. We live as if this world is the main stage, the full picture, the ultimate destination. We worry, we fight, we strive, and we build, all on borrowed time. And we do it with this belief that this is it, that there's nothing more. But when you understand the truth, when your soul is awake, you begin to realize that this entire life is nothing more than preparation. It's an examination hall, not a celebration hall. And what you write here determines what you will face there. The problem is most people don't prepare. They ignore the reality of death until it's staring them in the face. They avoid funeral prayers. They change the topic when it gets too deep. They drown themselves in entertainment and distraction because the thought of mortality unsettles them. But no matter how much you ignore it, death is not going away. No matter how wealthy, young, powerful or healthy you are, death doesn't discriminate. It arrives, quietly, sometimes suddenly. And when it comes, the show ends. The mask falls, and what you've been hiding, what you've buried under your ego and arrogance, that's what stands before the eternal reality. This world allows you to pretend. You can lie, you can manipulate, you can mask your intentions. But once you cross that boundary, everything becomes visible. Everything hidden is brought to light. Every action, every intention, every word, it all returns to you. And that's what many people don't want to face. Not because they don't believe in life after death, but because they haven't lived like they believe it. They haven't made their choices with the after in mind. The moment your soul leaves your body, you won't be asking about your car or your salary. You won't care who followed you or who ignored you. You'll be asking different questions. Did I live with purpose? Did I hurt people? Did I fulfill my obligations? Did I speak truth, even when it cost me? Did I humble myself before the one who gave me life? Those questions won't be philosophical anymore. They'll be urgent. They'll be the only thing that matters. But you still have time now. You're reading this. You're breathing. You're alive. And that means the door is still open. That's the mercy of life. It gives you opportunities to prepare, to change, to reflect. It gives you time to realign your focus. But the clock is ticking, and you don't know how many grains of sand are left in your hourglass. That's why you have to live with your end in mind. Not in fear, but in clarity. Not with anxiety, but with purpose. The end of this life is not to be feared. It's to be understood. It's to be prepared for. Because if you've lived with integrity, with compassion, with humility, then death becomes a release, not a punishment. It becomes a return to where your soul truly belongs. There's a deep peace in knowing you've done your part, that you've left this world with a clean heart, and a record full of goodness. That's the kind of peace you can't fake. It only comes from living sincerely. Some people spend their entire lives accumulating things they'll never take with them. They build empires and forget their souls. They invest in their image and neglect their character. They win in this world and lose in the next. But what's the point of winning the temporary and failing in the eternal? What's the point of being admired by millions if you're forgotten by the one who created you? It's not about perfection. No one is perfect. Everyone slips. Everyone falls. But it's about direction. Which way are you facing? Are you walking toward truth or away from it? Are your actions reflecting gratitude or arrogance? Every small decision, every quiet moment of integrity, every unseen act of kindness, these things matter. They add up. And when your time comes, they may be the very things that save you. This life is like a mirage. It gives the illusion of permanence, but nothing stays. Not your youth, not your health, not even your family. The only thing that lasts is what you send forward. Your deeds are your real luggage. Your intentions are your real wealth. And your connection with your Creator is your only anchor when everything else slips away. So don't live in denial. Face the truth now, while you still can. Look death in the eye and let it humble you. Let it guide your decisions. Let it remind you of what really matters. Because once you understand that death is not the end but the beginning, you stop being afraid to let go of things that don't serve you. You stop chasing validation. You stop wasting time. You begin to forgive quicker, love deeper, speak softer, pray more sincerely. You start to see people for their hearts, not their status. You walk through this life like a traveler, not attached, not arrogant, but aware. Aware that every step you take is leading you somewhere. And if that somewhere is eternal, then it deserves your attention now. Because the end isn't the end, it's the unveiling. And how you live now determines how you'll arrive then. Make it count. At the end of life, when the world fades and the noise dies down, regrets begin to echo in the silence. But the deepest regrets are rarely about what we did. They're about what we didn't do. It's not the words we said that haunt us. It's the ones we swallowed. The words we buried out of pride, fear, stubbornness, or neglect. The ones we thought we had time to say later. The I'm sorry that never left our lips. The I forgive you, we held back. The I love you we thought we'd say next week, next call, next visit. But next never came. That's the painful truth of this life. Silence can be heavy. And when that silence becomes permanent, when someone's gone, or you're the one slipping away, you realize just how loud your unspoken words really were. You realize that relationships weren't ruined by huge events. Often they were wounded by silence, by the failure to speak when the heart was open, by the refusal to express vulnerability, to mend what was broken before time made it impossible. People spend their lives trying to look strong, composed, in control. They suppress their emotions, delay conversations, wait for the right moment. But life doesn't wait for moments. Death doesn't send a notice. Sometimes that person you were planning to forgive is taken from you, or you're taken from them. And what remains is unfinished business. Regret wrapped in silence. Words that were meant to heal, but never got the chance. Why do we do it? Why do we hold back when we feel so much? Because we think there's time. That's the illusion. We assume we'll get another chance, another day, another reunion. But time is a liar when you trust it blindly. People grow distant, hearts harden, opportunities vanish, and eventually, silence becomes the only thing left between two people who once cared. Think about it. When people sit by the bedside of someone nearing their end, they don't talk about promotions or possessions. They don't bring up gossip or arguments. They whisper things that matter. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. Please pray for me. In those final moments all the walls fall. The ego disappears. All that's left is truth. Raw, honest, sometimes painful, but real. Why wait until the end to be real? Why wait until the body is weak, and the heart is fading to finally say what should have been said years ago? The strength to speak your truth is not weakness. It's power. Real power. It takes courage to tell someone you miss them. It takes maturity to say, I was wrong. It takes humility to admit, I hurt you, and I'm sorry. But these words, when spoken, have the ability to lift weights you didn't even realize you were carrying. They restore broken bridges. They heal wounds that time alone can't fix. Time can pass, but only words can truly repair. Every day, you meet people who are hurting inside, people who are carrying anger, guilt, or loneliness. Sometimes all they need is a simple word from you, a message, a call, a gesture. But we ignore those nudges. We scroll past, we say maybe later, and that delay becomes a lifetime. That silence becomes permanent, and we only realize what we had once it's too late to speak. But it doesn't have to be that way. You still have your voice. You still have time. You still have people around you who need to hear your heart. Don't let pride rob you of peace. Don't let fear steal your chance to make things right. Because in the end, when you're looking back on your life, it won't be your victories that you remember the most. It will be the moments when you chose love over ego, when you reached out instead of walking away, when you said what mattered before it was too late. Even if people reject your words, even if they don't respond the way you hope, say it anyway. Speak not to be heard, but to be whole, to release what's inside of you, to honor the truth. Because sometimes healing isn't about fixing relationships. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of what you left unsaid. There are people walking around today with hearts full of unsent messages, screenshots of conversations they never had, tears they never explained, affection they buried. Don't let that be you. Don't be the one who stands at a grave, wishing for one more conversation, wishing they had said what was locked inside, wishing for a moment that will never come back. And don't think this is only about big things. Sometimes it's the small words that matter the most. You inspire me. I'm proud of you. I missed your smile. You changed my life. These words seem simple, but they carry depth. They let people know they matter, that they're seen, that their existence has meaning in your world. And those are the kind of words people carry with them forever. One day, you will have your last conversation with every single person in your life. You won't know when that last conversation is happening. You won't get a warning. So make every word count. Don't waste your breath on complaints, arguments or indifference. Speak with kindness. Speak with honesty. Speak with intention. Because you don't know which words will be your last. Right now, in this moment, you have the power to speak life into someone, to bring peace to your own heart, to break a silence that's doing more damage than you think. You just have to choose courage over comfort, vulnerability over pride, truth over silence. Because when it's all over, it's not the things you said that will haunt you. It's the things you didn't. And the only way to avoid that regret is to say it now, while there's still time, while hearts are still beating, while ears are still listening. Say what needs to be said, before silence says it for you. Time is the greatest illusion we've ever bought into. We live as if we have control over it, as if we can stretch it, pause it, or save it for later. But the truth is, time doesn't belong to us. It never did. It's not ours to command. It flows with a rhythm we don't dictate, and it ends when we least expect it. The greatest tragedy isn't that life ends, it's that we live like it won't. We waste hours like they're infinite. We procrastinate healing, delay growth, postpone prayer, and tell ourselves, I'll change tomorrow. But tomorrow is a promise no one has ever been given. You have plans. So did the people buried yesterday. You have dreams, hopes, appointments and goals. So did they. Some of them had trips booked, weddings scheduled, exams to take, apologies to make, and people to meet. But time ran out. The illusion shattered. And what remained was silence, shock, and a trail of unfinished intentions. We act like life waits for us to be ready. But life has never worked on our timeline. It doesn't check our calendars before it collapses. It doesn't pause for us to catch up. That's why the illusion of time is so dangerous. It tricks you into thinking you can always start later. Later becomes your safety net, your excuse, your comfort zone. I'll be better later. I'll reconnect with God later. I'll ask for forgiveness later. I'll fix my character later. But what if later never comes? What if you close your eyes tonight, and don't open them again? What if the next breath you plan on taking isn't granted? The illusion of time kills urgency, and urgency is what wakes the soul. When you live like your time is running out, you stop playing games with your life. You stop tolerating what's poisonous. You stop prioritizing things that don't feed your soul.
You start asking deeper questions. What am I doing here? Who am I really? Am I living for something bigger than myself? You begin to realize that each day is a divine invitation to return to who you were meant to be, not later. Now, look around. People spend years chasing everything except their purpose. They chase attention, not respect. They chase money, not meaning. They chase status, not sincerity. And when the end comes near, they realize how little all of it mattered. They see that they neglected their inner world, while obsessing over a world that was never meant to last. That's the harsh awakening many face on their deathbed, that all the hours they thought they had were wasted on things that couldn't follow them to the grave. You can't take your followers with you. You can't take your bank balance. You can't take your popularity, your car, your fame, or your wardrobe. But you will take your actions. You'll take the way you treated people, the way you made others feel, the words you spoke when no one was watching, the truth you lived by, or ignored. That's what meets you at the end. And what's more painful is how people die with their greatness still inside them. They die with books unwritten, apologies unspoken, prayers unoffered, and love unshared. Why? Because they were waiting for the right time. They were waiting to feel ready. But time doesn't give you warnings. It doesn't send you reminders. It moves quietly, and before you know it, it's gone. You're out of chances, out of days, and all you're left with is "I wish I had." You don't need to be old to die. You just need to be alive. And every second that passes is a second you'll never get back. That should scare you enough to live differently. It should push you to treat your time as your most sacred currency. Spend it wisely. Give it to things that truly matter. Invest it in your growth, your faith, your relationships, your healing. Stop giving your minutes to meaningless arguments, mindless scrolling, and temporary highs. This world is full of distractions that eat time but starve the soul. Wake up now. Don't wait for a diagnosis, a tragedy, or a near-death experience to start valuing your life. Don't wait until your back is against the wall to finally cry out for purpose. You were not created to waste away in routine and regret. You were created to live a life that echoes into eternity. And that kind of life doesn't happen by accident. It happens by decision. By waking up and choosing to live today like it's your last. Not in fear, but in full presence. Not in panic, but with purpose. This is your wake-up call. Time is not your friend if you're not using it wisely. It will slip away silently while you think you're in control. Don't let it deceive you. You don't need more time. You need more awareness, more discipline, more sincerity, more courage to do what your heart has been pulling you toward all along. Apologize now. Forgive now. Pray now. Love now. Start now. Don't wait for a special moment to begin. Make this moment special by beginning. This is not about rushing life. It's about not sleeping through it. It's about not waiting for pain to teach you what reflection and wisdom could have taught you for free. One day, someone will write your name in the years you lived between two dashes. The dash is your life. That small line holds everything you were. Don't let it be filled with excuses. Fill it with impact, with meaning, with moments of truth. Because when time runs out, there are no replays, no rewinds, just judgment, just memory, just the echo of what you left behind. So stop living like you have forever. You don't. And that's what makes your life so precious. That's what gives every second its value. Live it. Use it. Don't just exist in time, transform within it. Let today be the day you tear down the illusion and begin to live with the urgency, clarity and depth you were always meant to carry.